Okay, so good day, ma'am. My name is Emerson A. Bahada, along with my partner Joanne Buok, and today we are going to discuss to you the key concept that we have got from the article that we have read entitled The Analysis of Language Teaching Materials Inside the Trojan Horse. Our discussion is entitled Aspects of an Analysis of Language Teaching Materials. To start with, let's define what is language teaching materials. Now, according to the article, language teaching materials refers to everything used to help teaching language learners. That is according to Tomlinson 1998. And also, language teaching materials is vital to facilitate teachers and learners in the language learning. That is according to Richards and Smith 2002. Now, language teaching materials may vary into different forms. We have linguistic teaching materials, we also have visual teaching materials, we also have auditory materials, and kinesthetic teaching materials. So now, let's move on to our main discussion, which is to discuss to you the one of the general framework for analyzing or evaluating language teaching materials. And that is the question, what aspects of materials should you examine or should we examine? Actually, there are very many aspects which one can examine in a set of materials. It would be possible, for example, to describe materials in terms of the quality of the paper, the binding, the pricing, the layout, the size of the book, typeface, and so on. One might also look closely at the artworks and texts in the materials to see, for example, how the sexes are presented, how cultural bias may be evident, and how the materials treat green issues, how they promote consumerism, and so on. Each of these will be important aspects depending on the purpose one has in looking at the materials. My focus here, however, is on the materials as a pedagogic device, that is, as an aid to teaching and learning a foreign language. Moreover, this framework, which is what aspects of materials should you examine, consists of two main sections. We have the publication and then the design. Now, when we say publication, this relates to the tangible or physical aspects of materials and how they appear as a complete set, whether on a paper or electronically. Here, we will be concerned with the relationship that may exist between the student's materials and any other components, for example, whether answer keys are only available in other teachers' materials, how the students' materials relate to any audio or video recordings, and so on. And the actual form of materials, for example, durable versus consumable, worksheets versus bound book, paper print versus electronic, all of which have direct implications for classroom methodology. We may also look inside the materials to determine how they are divided into sections and subsections, how a sense of continuity or coherence is maintained, and whether the order in which the materials can be used is predetermined. This final aspect suggests one further element, how access into the materials is supported. For example, whether there are contents lists, world lists, and texts, search facilities, hyperlinks, and so on. Now, the second subsection is design. Now, when you wish to examine a certain material, you can focus on the design, and you can look on the aims of the book, the principles of selection, the principles of sequencing, subject matter and focus of subject matter, types of teaching and learning activities used in the book, participation, and also you can look on the learner's rules and teaching rules, and lastly is you can also look to the role of materials as a whole or the purpose of the material to the classroom. So that is one of the general frameworks for analyzing a materials. Now, I will be giving the opportunity to Joanne Buok to provide you an example.
So hi, good morning everyone. I am Joanne Buok from BAEL 3A, and today I'll be discussing to you about sample of analytical description Primary Colors, Pupils Book 5. So the first thing to be discussed is about the publication. So under publication, we have 4 subtopics. For the first one, we have place of learners' materials in the set. And for the second one, we have the form of learners' materials, and it is followed by the subdivision of the learners' materials. And for the last one, we have the subdivision of sections into subsections. So this is the sequencing on how are you going to make your own publication in the future. So for the first subtopic, it is about the place of learners' materials in the set. So this means about the access into the learners' materials provided for teachers and learners. So aside from that, we also have to take consideration of the answer keys and transcripts provided for the teachers only. So for the next subtopic is about the published form of learners' material, in which the learners material, it is monolingual throughout. So the teachers, the authors and writers of that specific book, they are expected to use only single language, so that we can avoid confusion to the readers. Okay, so another subtopic, we have the subdivision of learners' materials. So basically, every learner's materials, it is expected to be divided into 6 sub-units with a standardized number of pages for each one. So that would be all. And for the last subtopic, we have the subdivision of sections into subsections. So this means to say that there should be a pattern between A and C, units A and C, and each section, both sections, so it is expected to provide comprehension exercises and practice exercises related to the language points. So again, we have 4 subtopics under the publication: the place of learners' materials in the set, the form of learners' materials, the subdivision of learners' materials, and the subdivision of sections into subsections. So again, that would be all. And once again, I am Joanne Buok from Bael 3A.
So now, let's move on to the design. It consists of 7 aspects. The first one, aims and objectives. The number 2, the principles of selection. Number 3, principles of sequencing. Number 4, subject matter and focus of subject matter. Number 5, types of teaching or learning activities employed in the materials. The number 6, participation, who does what with whom. And then the last one is the classroom rules of teachers and learners. The aims and objectives of the book is to develop learners' linguistic competence in all 4 skills. It also develop and draw on cross-curricular and cross-cultural knowledge, and also to encourage the learners to express their own ideas and to adopt and initiate role in using language. In the principles of selection, it says in the book that types of tasks, we have the reproductive language practice, speculation, and hypothesizing, working with complete text, drawing on students' knowledge or ideas, content, the age-appropriate storylines, cross-curricular topics, learners' personal information or ideas, and the language is the grammar areas combined with vocabulary relevant to the topic. And in the third aspect, which is the principles of sequencing, the task, movement from language presentation or input via story text, comprehension task and language practice on the language presented in the story. The content, no clear principle for the sequence of content. The language, simple to complex in terms of surface structure, largely following traditional grammatical sequence. And in the fourth aspect, the subject matter and focus of subject matter, it is fictional story and cross-curricular content related to the context of the story. There is no metalinguistic comment on forms presented. And in the fifth aspect, which is the types of teaching or learning activities, pupils' focus is directed exclusively to meaning. Most tasks require a scripted response, with some opportunities for learners to adopt and initiate decision. Materials direct classroom interaction for both teachers and learners. Predominant operations required: decode semantic meaning and select information. Mother tongue not called upon. Emphasis on exposure to connected text. Reading rather than listening, speaking rather than writing. And in the sixth aspect, which is the participation with, does, what, with whom, most tasks require learners to work individually, simultaneously. And in the last aspect, which is the classroom roles of teachers and learners, decision-making weighted towards the teacher by the materials, guidance on using the materials, and provision of answer keys for a teacher.